Gun manufacturers have spent 2 decades aggressively marketing assault weapons, which make them the most and largest profit. For God's sake, we have to have the courage to stand up to the industry.
President Biden stepping up his push for gun control in a White House speech on Tuesday night, reacting to the Texas elementary school massacre. This is the second mass shooting in our country in 2 weeks. And again, it's pushing the gun debate, gun control debate to the forefront. Joining us right now, Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill. Now, Niall, obviously there are a lot of Democrats who are being very vocal right now about what they believe should be done next. But it's the same tune. It's the same song. But there has not been a bipartisan agreement on gun control or what we should do with gun legislation. With this tragedy, is there a sense that things could possibly change due to public pressure?
Well, first of all, Adrienne, I completely understand the public pressure and just, before we get into the politics, the human horror of this, we're all touched by that. On the politics of it, legislatively, I'm not seeing a whole lot of evidence that things will change soon. There has been a shift in recent years at the public level where people on the ground have become more involved in pro-gun control groups to try to balance out the influence of so-called gun rights groups. But that, so far as I can see, has not percolated through to Capitol Hill just yet.
And, President Biden pointed out that he was vice president during the Sandy Hook tragedy a decade ago, and he had pushed for tougher gun legislation then. But in all fairness, former President Donald Trump in 2018, pushing for his own form of tougher gun laws, asking that the age to purchase any gun in this country be raised from 18 to 21. I know Senator Joe Manchin is trying to resuscitate his gun legislation, a bipartisan agreement to have universal background checks for commercially sold weapons. But all of this banter back and forth and all of this blaming, is it productive at all after so many tragedies in this country? Or do we need to maybe go back to square one and rethink how we're doing this?
I think we probably do need to fundamentally rethink the gun laws in this country, Adrienne. Those have remained unchanged through all kinds of tragedies. Not long after I came to the US, I covered the massacre at Virginia Tech. 32 people died. That's 15 years ago. Sandy Hook, 10 years ago. Still no change. When we talk about the system, Adrienne, we always strive to be fair, as you know, but I think we have to be clear as well. Opposition to gun control comes overwhelmingly from the Republican Party, and support for gun control comes overwhelmingly from the Democratic Party. That's not to say there aren't gradations within those parties or that there aren't exceptions to that rule, but it's more than just the system. It is primarily Republicans who are opposed to any measures regarding gun control.
But it's interesting because in doing some research about this, there was a Gallup poll in 2018, and then there was a Politico poll last year that showed that even Republicans are in favor of universal background checks. We heard this emphatic message from Warriors coach Steve Kerr and saying, what are we going to do about this? What's going to change? And the fact is that both Republicans and Democrats are okay with universal background checks, but we still can't get the law to be passed through Congress. Why?
That's a great point, Adrienne. And when I was referring to Republicans, I was referring to elected officials. You make the very valid point that when it comes to background checks, one poll I saw had support among Republican voters for that at north of 80%. The reasons basically are partly the amount of money the gun lobby spends, but also the fact that they have been more politically effective at organizing voters than the pro-gun control lobby has. In other words, there are single-issue voters who won't vote for any candidate who backs restrictions on gun ownership. The pro-gun control lobby has not been as effective in mobilizing voters in that way so far.
Yeah. Niall, thank you as always. Good to see you. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.